It was during Jesus' final hours that he sat down to eat his last Passover meal with his disciples. As they sat to eat, he informed them that one of them would betray him, and the disciples began to question among themselves and asked Jesus, "Lord, is it me?" Jesus answered them and said, "The one who dips his hand with me in the dish shall be the one." Then Judas asked Jesus, "Master, is it me?" And Jesus said, "It is you." And Judas departed from them to betray Jesus. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Then he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins." And Jesus said to them, "All of you will be offended because of me tonight. It's written, I will smite the shepherd and the sheep will be scattered." Peter answered, "Though all men shall be offended because of you, I will never be offended." Jesus answered, "Peter, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and said to the disciples, "Sit here while I go and pray over there." And he took with him Peter and 2 others, and Jesus was deeply distressed. He went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to the disciples and found them asleep, and said to Peter, "What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that you don't enter into temptation. The spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak." While Jesus was speaking, Judas came, accompanied by a large crowd of Pharisees and came to him and said, "You were with this Jesus of Galilee," and he denied knowing him. And then another said to him, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." And he said with an oath, "I do not know the man." A short while later another said to Peter, "You were one of them. Your accent betrays you." He began to curse and swear and said, "I don't know the man." And immediately a rooster crowed. Jesus turned and looked at Peter, and he remembered the words of Jesus, "Before the rooster crows, you'll deny me 3 times." Peter cried and left the courtyard. Throughout the night, Jesus was moved around in a series of mock trials, each one seeking to find witnesses against him and to put him to death, but none were found. In Jesus' final trial, he appeared before Pilate, and Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered him, "It's as you say." The chief priests and elders accused him of many things, but he didn't answer. Then Pilate said to him, "Don't you hear how they testify against you?" But Jesus still didn't answer. Pilate said to them, "What should I do with Jesus who's called Christ?" They all said to him, "Let him be crucified." Then the governor said, "Why? What has he done?" But they cried out even more, saying, "Let him be crucified." When Pilate saw that he could not prevail, he took water and washed his hands and said, "I am innocent of the blood of this just person. You see to it." And if he is the king of Israel, let him come down from the cross and we'll believe him. He trusted in God. Let God deliver him, for he said, "I'm the Son of God." And one of the 2 thieves ridiculed him, saying, "If you are the Christ, save yourself and us." But the other thief replied, "Don't you fear God? We're all being condemned the same. Only we deserve to suffer because of our crimes, but this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus replied, "Today you will be with me in paradise." The veil of the temple was split down the middle, and Jesus cried with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." And he died. Jesus' body was taken, wrapped in cloth, and laid in a tomb, and a large stone was rolled against the door. The Pharisees requested that Pilate secure the tomb because they remembered that Jesus had said, "After 3 days I will rise." And they didn't want his disciples to steal his body and then say, "He has risen from the dead." And Pilate provided a guard, and they sealed the stone. 3 days after Jesus' death, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. There was a great earthquake, and an angel "I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He's not here. He is risen, as he said he would. Come, see the place where the Lord lay, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and he is going before you into Galilee. You'll see him there." Just as the angel had said, Jesus appeared to his disciples. Now Thomas, one of the disciples, was not with them when Jesus came to them. The other disciples said to him, "We've seen the Lord." Thomas said, "Unless I see the nail holes in his hands, and put my finger into the holes, and put my hand into his side, I'll not believe." 8 days later, his disciples were together again, and Thomas was with them. Jesus came and stood in the midst and said, "Peace to you." Then he said to Thomas, "Reach your finger here, and look at my hands, and reach your hand here, and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing." And Thomas answered and said to him, "My Lord and my God." And Jesus said to him, "Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen, and yet have believed." Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe